Hello everyone, and welcome to week 11's lecture for English 213. I'm sorry we didn't have a lecture last week, but I wanted to give you a week to start working on your papers. And I've really been impressed with the conversations I've had with the few of you, with many of you I've already spoken to about your paper. Please make sure that you figure out a time that we can talk in order to discuss your paper. I think most of you have gone ahead and met with me, but in case you haven't, you must contact me immediately so we can discuss the topics that the prompt that you've decided to write about. This week we're going to be talking about King Lear. You were assigned to begin reading King Lear last week. This week I'm assigning you to watch King Lear while you're actually while you're reading it. That's the best way to read Shakespeare, is to read it with a performance in front of you. And there's a link here to a performance of King Lear that is free, and it's on PBS. It's got Ian McKellen in it, so it's someone that you'll be familiar with, and it's a really good performance. So I think it's something that you'll enjoy. I'd love for you to continue working on your papers, and I have some more information about MLA formatting and things like that at the end of this lecture. So for more information on how to read King Lear, I'd like you to visit the No Fear Shakespeare King Lear. It's actually SparkNotes, but it's a great summary of the play in case you're lost. I'd also like you to please watch the PBS version of the play while you're reading it. King Lear was written during the reign of James I, who was Queen Elizabeth's successor. It was a huge change that was happening in England at this time. And the play that Shakespeare wrote, King Lear, offered a very public commentary during a time when this was explicitly forbidden. No one spoke ill of the court, but Shakespeare did, and on the whole, he really wrote about the whole social order of the court and how messed up it was. There are two versions of this play, and it's really interesting to study if you want to get into more detail. If you go to the Folger Shakespeare library links from last week, you can see the quarto and folio versions of the play and how they differ based on the fact that this was a very hot topic during the time period. And you can look at actually who attended the play, which is very interesting. The form is a dramatic tragedy. So in the end, basically, in a tragedy, everyone dies. The summary is that King Lear, Lear is the king of Britain, and in a very ancient period, so a long time ago, and he resolves to divide his kingdom among his 3 daughters on the basis of how much they profess to love him. The youngest, Cordelia, refuses to take part and is banished, but is pitied and married by the King of France. Having given away his power, Lear is maltreated by his 2 elder daughters, Goneril and Regan, and he goes mad and starts wandering in the wild. Meanwhile, the good Earl of Gloucester is tricked by his bastard son Edgar, and Gloucester's eyes are subsequently put out. Cordelia returns from France with an army, and the characters converge on the field of battle, where Lear and his daughter are defeated. The deceptions of Edmund, Regan, and Goneril are revealed, leading to their deaths, but not before Cordelia has been murdered in prison. At the end of the play, Lear enters carrying her dead body and dies with his eyes fixed upon Cordelia's face. So the themes of this, and you can see it's very dramatic, it's tragedy. Everyone is, there's lies, there's deceit, there's murder, there's death. The main themes are love, loyalty, nature, fate, madness, and isolation. And nature is a big theme throughout this text to pay attention to. This week, in your conversation, I'd like for you guys to think about, you're going to choose one of these 3 possible topics. I'd like you to post an answer where you answer the question in detail and you use evidence from the text to support your answer. So you can either write about King Lear's descent into madness by tracing its course. When does he truly completely go mad, and give proof? Look at the following speeches, comparing them, considering the extent to which Lear is yet reasoning, philosophizing, with the point at which all of that turns to utter ranting and rambling. So look at Act 1, Scene 1, Act 2, Scene 4, lines 261 to 83, Act 3, Scene 4, lines 6 to 23, Act 3, Scene 4, lines 23 to 36, Act 4, Scene 6, lines 85 to 164. Act 5, Scene 3, lines 270 to 87. And Act 5, Scene 3, lines 320 to 7. And use that evidence to really put forward when you think he truly goes mad. Second question is, discuss King Lear as a play about revolution. Which characters participate in the revolution? How? And how and why do their choices and actions result in tragedy, their deaths, and or cause other deaths and suffering? Finally, the last choice is first impressions. So I'd like you to discuss your first impressions of the characters that you were introduced to in Act 1, who are Kent, Gloucester, Edmund, King Lear, as a king, as a father, as a man, Goneril, Regan, and Cordelia. Then consider how, when, if those impressions change over the course of the play, and why. Finally, just want to talk to you a little bit about your paper. It's due November 3rd at 11:59 p.m. That's Monday, so please make sure you work on this. Most of you have chosen a topic already. You need to choose one of these topics and write a 5 to 6 page paper. It needs to be formatted in MLA format, and I've added a link to the Al Purdue website that has kind of a refresher on MLA format, and a link to a sample version of an MLA formatted paper. Take a look at these, and if you still have questions about MLA formatting, please contact me so I can help you. Please make sure your paper has a clear thesis, uses evidence from the text to support your thesis. And you also want to make sure you have at least one source besides our anthology in your paper. Once again, if you haven't yet had a conference with me, make sure you reach out to me. I look forward to seeing you guys online. It's been a pleasure speaking with those of you who I've gotten a chance to speak with. If you did have a conference with me and you didn't post it, it was at a time that wasn't selected, please make sure you post it so you get your 10 points for your participation in the conference. It's part of your writing grade. You just need to post it on the wiki whatever time that we met. All right? All right, guys, just let me know if you have questions. If not, I'll see you online. Next week, forgot to end with what we're doing next week. Next week, we're moving on to the 17th century. We're going to start reading some poems by John Donne, one of my favorite poets. He's hard, but he's a lot of fun. All right, guys, I'll see you online.